So gentlemen, this is going to be a video on 7 mistakes that men make when courting a woman. I meet so many guys these days that are coming into the Orthodox Church, into Christianity, and the question that I get asked the most is generally about finding a partner, finding a wife, meeting a woman that they can build a life with. And I think this is because that when you come into the Orthodox Church, then you're really stepping into a completely new paradigm of how to relate to women compared to our mainstream pornified culture. And so we need a completely new map in order to be able to navigate in this area. A lot of guys think that the way to get a partner, to get a girlfriend or find a wife is by learning to talk to lots of women, growing in confidence, and using different techniques to kind of like try and land them. And the truth is that in an Orthodox context, and as an Orthodox Christian, none of this is gonna work. So courtship isn't about getting a girlfriend, it's about discerning to find a wife that you can earn your salvation with. It's far, far bigger and far more important in reality. And if you lose your way or if you don't have this focus, then it's actually going to waste your entire strength and energy and take years and years away from finding a productive life. So this is going to be 7 mistakes that guys make in courtship and also how to avoid them. So the first thing is having the wrong aim. Your first issue is the foundation. As a human being, we are teleological. We aim at something. We have desire in our heart, and that's actually what drives our actions. And so when we look for a girlfriend or a wife as our most important thing that we're doing in our life, we're often trying to fix the loneliness, the sense of emptiness in our heart. But when we court, then what we're looking for is actually a partner in earning our salvation. So this actually has to be the fundamental desire of your heart, to be united with God. That has to be the thing that you're aiming for. If you're aiming for just finding a woman, then something like to feel this hole in your heart, then you're going to aim wrong. If you don't have a desire for God, you need to pray for that. You can pray for it and you can ask God, give me a desire first of all for you. And if you pray for this, then it will become your desire. But if you think that, the hole in your heart is something that a woman has to fill, that's really something that you've been, tricked into believing from the mainstream culture. And that's actually what the problem is. And a woman, I can promise you, will never fill that hole in your heart. And even if you find like the most gorgeous, beautiful woman and you marry her, you're going to find not too long time after that you still have that same sense of emptiness. And so looking for comfort and validation from a woman is going to lead you to shortchanging yourself and actually putting yourself into a really bad situation. But if your aim is a lifelong marriage under God, submitted to God, and aiming at God together with your wife, then that's when you're going to find a woman who's actually capable of sharing that mission with you. The most important thing is really that she's going to need to be a mother to your children. If you just go for a woman that can satisfy you, you're probably not going to be noticing if she's qualified to be that life partner. And a lot of men these days, they get kind of swept away by the idea of just like falling in love with a woman. Oh yeah. And they'll even find like this perfect woman who's a really good, mother and partner. But then they'll feel like, oh, there isn't that spark and that juiciness or something like that. And I really think this is actually an understanding. If you're not a married man, you haven't had any children yet, then you're not even starting to understand what love is. You just kind of have hormones and emotions and stuff like that. Love is something that, I started to really understand only when my second child arrived, when you actually as a man have to start sacrificing yourself, giving yourself up, your life for your family and for your wife. So we're really in looking for a wife and courting, we're aiming high and we're looking at salvation through marriage, not just emotional relief in the short term. The second mistake that men make is that they are not ready yet. So they start searching for a woman, but they haven't sorted out the basics. If you're financially unstable, spiritually unstable, emotionally unstable, then you're not ready to lead a family. And a godly woman doesn't want, she's going to notice that and she's going to sense that. She doesn't want to have to rescue a man. She wants to find a man who's already firm and knows where he's going. So you have to build discipline. You have to get your finances in order, make sure you're earning your own money and earning respect in your own community. If you do this kind of thing, then you're not going to have to go and search for a woman. She's going to find you, I promise you. If you're just on that path, then what's going to happen is that you're going to be able to pick the woman that you want to choose instead of having to go and convince her and impress her or something like that. So you need to be able to stand up and take leadership in your own life first. And when you do that, then things can go right. If you start finding the woman and you don't have those things, then it's going to be much harder to change things. So here's my criteria. Basically, you need to be able to earn your own money. You need to have dealt with pornography habits or any other addictions that you're facing. For most guys, it's pornography. You need to kick that. And if you're attending church regularly, then you're ready for marriage. Then you're ready to go forward. If you haven't done those 3 things, then I'd say that's what you need to get working on. The next mistake that men make is hiding their intentions. So when you're ready to be married, then you need to be clear about that's what you're looking for. You should tell your priest this. You should also tell prospective women. Make it clear. You don't go around and just small talk and chat with women about stupid, nonsensical things. If you meet a woman, then as soon as you're in contact with her, then everybody knows that this is what's on the cards. If you're a single man, she's a single woman, then this is serious stuff. And so you might as well just make it clear right from the get-go. The first time, you don't have to announce it in front of a big group conversation. But if you can ask her, hey, let's go for a walk, and then you can make it clear, what is you're looking at. And I promise you that will, just save you a lot of time and energy. And you don't want to get friend zoned in this kind of thing. You're not looking to be her friend. You are looking for a wife. So just be straight and clear about this. A boy wants a woman that he can kind of get to know and be talking to a whole lot of different types and stuff like that. A man, he just knows that all he requires is one woman, and so he can be clear and straight up front. Also with other people, there's probably a lot of people who can help you, guide you to the right person that they know if you're upfront and honest about it. The next mistake that men make is by seeking a woman's validation instead of God's approval. So you don't want to be sucked into her orbit of what she's doing in her life, but you really need to be already orbiting God and focused on God, and that will help that woman then to become the moon that circles around you, and that's what you really want. That's what's going to make you attractive to a woman as well. And so basically I think a good way of thinking of it is that you're a train and you're going to some destination on the tracks that God has laid, and you've figured out what you need to do in your life and you're busy doing it. And then you can kind of offer to this woman, hey, this is where I'm going. Do you want to join? Do you want to, I have a mission in my life, and do you want to be a part of that mission? You want to help me on this mission? If she wants to get on, then she can join, and that's great. And if she doesn't want to get onto that train, maybe the mission that you have leads to lifestyle choices that aren't her thing, then she can decline, and that's great. But as long as you're focused on that mission, that path that God has set before you, then that woman will find you, and that's gonna happen by itself. Next mistake that men make is taking too long. So it's not meant to drag on. It's not supposed to take years. You can probably find really within a couple of months if you meet a woman whether she's the right person for you or not. So there's no real reason to kind of get to know each other. Definitely moving in together and stuff like that. Long dates and things like that are really not necessary. If you're ready as a man to get married, then things can move ahead really quickly. If you're noticing the need to have a relationship drag on for a very, very long time, for years, without actually going towards marriage, it's indication that, one of you isn't ready yet. And it's probably the man who's not ready to take responsibility for family. And so then you shouldn't be actually in that relationship. You need to sort out those things first before you get into that relationship. So, put things on pause, sort out the problems, and then you can start reconsidering if that's the right woman for you or not. The next point, number 6, is falling into lust. So there is really zero reason to allow yourself to do this. And what's required, and this is also something that's going to really earn the respect of a woman greatly as well, is by having very clear boundaries that's going to ensure that neither of you get tempted by, going into physical intimacy before you're ready to do that. And so the way that you do this is just deciding what can we tolerate without it's not going to awaken the dragons inside, or the whatever it is. and finding the right boundaries. So, if you can hold hands and walk together and that's fine, then by all means do that. But if you notice that holding hands, then afterwards you're having all kinds of lustful thoughts coming up, then probably you just need to say let's just stay away from physical contact. You can give each other an air kiss or something like that, then that's fine. If you can't do that, then just whatever your level is, make sure that you're just it's only going to increase the respect and self-respect, and also her respect of you, if you can keep those boundaries healthy. If you fall, if you fail, if you get much more intimate than what you wanted to do, then just get up again. Get up again. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. You did it together. It's a failure. You have the responsibility as the man, not her. So it's your responsibility also to make sure you get up again. There's a good chance that she'll follow you. If you two love each other, then she'll follow you into whatever boundaries you set. And you do want to really keep those high boundaries and keep that for marriage. It's so much better to keep marriage, pure and for the marriage bed. It'll just make everything so much better, and it's going to create a much stronger foundation for both of you if you're able to keep those strong boundaries. Final point here, number 7, for mistakes that men make when courting a woman is not meeting and talking to parents. I think what you'll find is that by meeting her parents and really being attentive, you'll learn so much about how she's going to be after you're married. Most women, I think all women, there's a lot of things that change after they get married. It's a big step. And so women are very aware when they're courting about how to be, and things, shift, and, children come along and all kinds of things change. And so if you watch her mother and her father carefully, see how their relationship works, watch how she acts when she's at home with her parents as well. If her dad is like running around and serving her, and she's just kind of like sitting back and getting served when she's with her parents, when she's at home, then that's very likely as well the kind of behavior she's going to expect from you too. So be attentive and careful. Talk to her parents. Be very polite. Ask her father for his permission if you want to marry her, if that's something you've made the decision to do. It's a very, very good thing to kind of establish a strong sense of respect in the relationship with the parents. And obviously you also want her to get to know your parents, so she can also see the culture of your family and notice differences in those cultures, because you two are going to have to sort that kind of thing out. And so there's going to be a negotiation between the two of you, and it's going to be hard for her. She's just going to automatically go to doing things the way that her parents do things, and you're going to obviously do things the way that happen in your family. Even the things you hated your parents did, you're probably going to do that once you're married as well. And so you need to be really attentive to cultural differences in the families and creating a clear understanding. And you're probably going to have to negotiate some things. The more you can sort out, you'll never be able to sort out everything before you get married, but the more that you can do that, the better. So that was 7 mistakes that men typically make when courting, 7 mistakes to avoid. And really, I think the key to the whole thing is, in your life as a man, keeping your eyes on God and getting integrated into a church community, I think, is the most powerful way to do that. Meeting other men, having brothers who you can call. You don't want to be using a woman that you're courting, especially, as your mother, that you're talking about your emotional difficulties and struggles and the things that you're trying to solve and stuff like that. So you really need other men who you're able to talk to about those kinds of things, people who you can call up at any time when you're in a difficulty, especially if you're in a difficulty with this woman that you're courting, and ask them their opinion. Men that you respect, who have found that stability, preferably married men as well. You're not chasing a woman to try and impress her and land her. You're a man who has his eyes focused on God, and you're looking for a helpmeet who's going to, help you to even strengthen your ability. This is going to be a woman that you're going to give your life for. You're actually going to go to death for her. And, you do that. You want to be able to do that in like some big final way. But the reality of married life is that as a man, you are offering your life on an every single daily basis to your family, to your wife. And you do that in small little ways, with your health, with your time, with your sleep, with your energy. You're giving it to your family. You're sacrificing yourself for your wife, for the love, for Christ's love for the church. You're offering yourself for her and for your children as well, so that they can grow to also join that path towards God, but towards salvation. So yeah, I hope you found this useful. Please send in some comments if you do have any. I'll be happy to hear what you have to say. And if you want to join a community of men who are really working to implement these kinds of principles and live these lives, this standard, maybe you don't have a local church with a strong group of men, then I highly recommend check out our online core community, our core groups. and it'll be a pleasure to have you in there, where we're really training to be able to become this kind of men and support each other in this way, so you can take it onwards to your local community. Thanks for listening, and appreciate it.